My name is Kingsley Imufua, and I am your host. Welcome to episode 6 of The Source, a deep dive into James Michener's monumental novel about the land of Israel, the people who built it, and the civilizations buried beneath its soil. The artifact at level X is one of the most evocative in the entire novel, a strigil, the curved bronze blade that Greek athletes used after competition in the gymnasium to scrape sweat and dirt from their bodies. This particular specimen is a Hellenistic marble carving depicting a hand holding a strigil carved in Antioch around 184 BCE from imported marble. It was deposited at Makor during the anti-Jewish riots of 167 BCE. The gymnasium was not simply an athletic facility. In the Hellenistic world, it was the central institution of Greek culture, the place where language, philosophy, politics, and physical beauty were cultivated together. To enter the gymnasium was to become, in a meaningful sense, Greek. And the gymnasium at Makor presented the Jews of this small town with the most seductive and dangerous challenge they had ever faced. Not the sword of an enemy, but the invitation of a superior civilization. After the return from Babylon, Makor was rebuilt. For a century and a half, they lived quietly under Persian, then Ptolemaic, and finally Seleucid rule. The Seleucids were, initially, remarkably tolerant. They built a beautiful little Doric temple to Zeus in Makor, but did not require Jewish attendance. They issued coins, encouraged Koine Greek, and promoted civic life. For many Jews of Makor, this offer was genuinely attractive. Greek was the language of the educated world. Young Jewish men who attended the gymnasium and adopted Greek names were not traitors in their own minds. They were modernizers, sophisticates, citizens of the world. They still worshipped in the synagogue on the Sabbath, but socialized in the gym. Could you not be both Jewish and Greek? This question will recur across 2,500 years of Jewish history. Can you be fully Jewish and fully assimilated? In 171 BCE, Antiochus IV announced that he had himself become the god Zeus incarnate. This was, initially, not taken entirely seriously by the Jews. They watched as a gigantic statue of the emperor was installed in the temple of Zeus. They were mildly annoyed. They continued their lives. And then the persecution escalated. First, the gymnasium was made mandatory. Then the Jewish Sabbath was declared illegal. Then circumcision was banned on pain of death. Then the great temple in Jerusalem was desecrated. A pig was sacrificed on the altar of God, and a statue of Zeus Antiochus was placed in the Holy of Holies. In Makor, the synagogue was taken over, its Torah scrolls burned, its leaders hacked to death in the gymnasium by Seleucid mercenaries. All of this is recorded history. Michener draws a direct line from this to later persecutions. The gymnasium, the symbol of beauty and progressive aspiration, is where the killing happened. The institutions of civilization were the instruments of destruction. The Jewish response to Antiochus IV is one of the great stories of religious resistance in human history. The Maccabees launched a guerrilla war against the Seleucid forces that lasted 3 years and ended with the recapture and rededication of the Jerusalem temple. This is the origin of the festival of Hanukkah, the rededication, and it marks the moment when Jewish identity hardened around boundaries that cannot be crossed. The strigil deposited during the riots is a paradox. The beautiful object of Hellenistic culture, abandoned in the rubble of the town it helped destroy. Assimilation had failed. What level X asks, with devastating clarity, is this: what is the cost of a unique identity? The Jews who assimilated were intelligent and genuinely interested in the best of Greek civilization, but the culture they assimilated into turned into an instrument of annihilation. This is Michener's warning. The persistence of Jewish identity has a reason, and the reason is not stubbornness. The reason is memory. The memory of the burning scrolls, the memory that beauty and philosophy can be deployed as instruments of murder, and that only a people who maintains its own identity has any defense against that possibility. That brings us to the end of this episode. I hope you found that as rich and thought-provoking as I did. Do not forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. See you in the next episode.